somebody came and whispered in my ear and they said, they want to close the TV station. Well, no, really, they're looking for a nonprofit to take over the station. And at the time, I mentioned it to Mallo, and I said, Mallo, they're looking for someone to take over the station. And he had been working here, for at least a year already at that point. And he says to me, I want to be that person. I want to take on that station. He says, I have lots of ideas. There are a tremendous amount of things that I think we can do with that station. And I said, wow, man, well, that's great, and I'll help you. And here we are, a year later, and Mallo's in charge of running the station, and the vision that he has and that we all have collectively is huge. Whenever I talk to people, especially young people and people from outside of our community, and they come in, they say, well, why do you live here? I said, well, besides the beauty of it, the real reason I live here is because of the people, because of the community. I grew up in the ghettos of New York City, and for me to get out of New York City, I at that point, I'd already survived, all right? To come through the journey that I've come through to end up here and have been living here for 20 years now, I'm in paradise. I can't imagine what it's like, what it would be like for me not to be living here at this point in my life. So when I meet people and they, I talk to them, I say, well, there are certain things about this community that are really true. One of those things is that if you stay here for 3 years, if you find that you like this place and you stay here for 3 years, the economy will absorb you. And what I mean by that is that the community will absorb you. It's your neighbor who says, hey, that person's a hard worker and you should hire him. That person is a person of integrity or value or whatever, and you should become their friend, right? And that's the way that we grow organically in this community. We invite people in, we offer them an opportunity to be tourists and do whatever, but really we're keeping our eyes open and saying, join us. Become part of who we are and what we are. And it happens all the time, and people are doing that, And then the other thing I always tell people, I say to them, look, would you do me a favor? First I ask them if they have a community, a place that makes their heart sing, and where people know their names. And some people say yes. Some people have said to me, oh, I got lots of those. And others are like, no, I'm still looking. And I say, well, whoever they are, I say, well, would you do me a favor? When you go home to that community, or when you find that community, would you do me a favor? And spend, dedicate the next 20 years of your life to building the infrastructure for future generations. And that's what I believe we're doing with this TV station, is building the infrastructure, the platform, so that our children and our teenagers and our early 20-somethings and our 30-somethings are encouraged to empower themselves, are given the opportunity to have their voice and to express it and to say whatever it is they want, whether it be about a member of the, County Board of Supervisors or whoever's running for president. Doesn't matter. But to speak their minds and to speak, truth to power. Talk from their heart, from their soul, from their being. And that's what, I really cherish about Mallo, is that this is not about Mallo. It's about Mallo giving others the opportunity to be themselves, to express themselves, and the vision that he has for this place is just phenomenal. I work for the County Office of Education, and I work with middle schoolers and high schoolers, and all the students I work with are special needs kids. And I teach them job skills. I teach them life skills, what we call nowadays, soft skills, okay? Things like how to be kind, how to be nice, how to speak up for yourself, how to advocate for yourself, right? All those skills that no matter what job you have, you're going to need, right? No matter where you go in your community, whether it's work-related or, part of the culture socially, those are the skills that are needed, right? How to love one another, how to interact with one another. And just today, I was at Eagle Peak Middle School, and I spoke to the assistant principal, and I spoke to the teacher who's in charge of multimedia, classes, and I spoke to the woman the teacher who's in charge of the program for kids with autism. And I told them what we were doing, and I said, look, we would like to work with your kids, with our kids. And they were all so excited. They were like, yes, absolutely. And that's juxtaposed against, the Board of Supervisors, at least one member of the Board of Supervisors, okay, and members of the CEO's office and staff who were talking at the last meeting that this discussion was brought up, which was last week. They were saying, well, we don't need this. Everybody's got a cell phone now. See, you can take your cell phone and you can, broadcast whatever you want. So who needs a cable station? Well, when I go there to Eagle Peak, or when I go to Pomalita, or I go to Ukiah High School, or wherever it is, Anderson Valley, those kids are learning to shoot video. Do we need this? Absolutely. Is it important? Absolutely. Right? And I think it's important for us to take that message back to the Board of Supervisors. I want to ask everybody here, and everybody who hears this or sees this video later, to please, pick up the phone, call your supervisor, send them a letter, send a letter to the editor, let them know that this is important for us. And more than that, we want them to not just, give us nickels and dimes. They've been nickel and diming us to death, right? Give us some more money. Give us a little bit more money so that we can actually build those platforms that allow us to absolutely use those cell phones when they're, necessary, or when it's a quick thing you want to do, but then also integrate the video and, the internet and all of those technologies that are available and continuing to evolve for us into the future. And we can only do that if they give us a little more than nickels. We need some dollars.